Welcome to the special monthly edition, weekly review number 13. Throughout this past month, I collected a lot of data. I have a lot of lessons to present to you today. A lot of material that I went through, a lot of hours went past that I had to live through and experience new things, learn new things. But I will not cover everything in this video, and I've selected only the most important areas of my lessons. My biggest revelation of this period actually happened a few days ago. And talking about this specific epiphany of mine, I cannot cover it and generalize it to every single avatar, every single persona existing on this earth. And I will be talking more about people that live lifestyles that are similar to students or just learners. And the most important point that I've noticed and that I came across after so many days of thought, the most important thing is to find the right point of balance between how much do we consume versus how much do we produce. And all of these, of course, have to be encompassed of some active and passive resting. For the passive resting, that could be a nap, sleeping. And for the active resting, that could be breathing exercises, meditation, cold shower. All of these activities that take rather quite a lot of energy. As students and learners, the biggest part of our days should be made out of learning time. That could be studying or learning. But our brain is not capable of learning throughout the entire day non-stop. It has to take pauses. It has to take some recovery. It cannot memorize every single thing. Therefore, it is important to learn and study very efficiently. In a day, you have 24 hours. You sleep only 8 out of these. You still have 16 hours. Let's say you study half of these 16 hours, which puts you at 8 hours left. And so during these 8 left hours, here is maybe even the most important phase of your day. Of course, you have to eat, to do some kind of activity. You always have some extra tasks that you have to complete throughout the day. But that still leaves you with a little bit of time remaining. And during that time, you have to produce something. And that result that you've just produced doesn't have to be materialistic. It doesn't have to show itself immediately. One way of becoming that factory that produces lots of value, such as money, you could get a secondary job next to your studies. And that way you wouldn't waste your time during the remainder of the day, and you would gain some money in return for your efforts. But now let's say that you are a full-time student, a full-time learner, and that you don't have any job. That's where it is important to choose the right things to do throughout that remainder hours. And here, at least in my case, I've encountered big, important wishes and desires to spend the majority of that time on media or on video games. Let's dissect both of these topics. Let's say that you want to spend a lot of time that you have left on media. Let's say that you want to watch a movie and you also want to catch up with some videos that some YouTubers have released. If you want to do these, and if you know that these activities will not bring you much value, you can then do these next to some shallow tasks. You could consume some content while eating, while cleaning, while preparing something, or even training. And another way that would be also productive when consuming that content is to actively seek value from it and maybe consume that content with some other people and then discuss about it, or do it that by yourself, but then take notes of the interesting things that you learned or that you didn't like. Then you can debate about all of that stuff that you learned and do even some deeper research and all of that by yourself with ChatGPT, for example. And then the other topic, if let's say you want to spend the rest of the time on video games, well, here is where you can actually work on your EQ, on your emotional intelligence. While you will be working and upgrading your IQ, your intellect, through the 8 hours through which you will be learning, when you will go on that EQ training and, for example, play video games, here you can play those video games with other people and focus on trying to speak with other people, focus on trying to become more articulate, to find the right words to express yourself, and in the same time practice active listening and try to listen and understand what other people are talking about and try to reflect on their words. When indulging into those talks, those speeches, you can of course talk about yourself, about other people, about what is happening in this world, or just go on any debates. Of course, sometimes in the video games you will encounter some situations that will be funny or will require a lot of focus and you won't be able to speak during that short amount of time. Well, then of course you can just enjoy the game and talk or not talk. But it's not as simple as this. In order to improve yourself to the maximum, to the highest degree, playing video games or consuming media will not do you much good. You could still spend your time with even more value in other ways. And the risk of consuming media, video games, or any other activity that brings you a lot of instant gratification was that, first of all of your dopamine system gets dysregulated, and then throughout the rest of the time where you won't indulge into these activities, you won't feel that happy. You will feel like something is missing, and it will be hard to do hard tasks or tasks that could seem boring to you. But looking from the other side, it is still way better to live such a lifestyle with some complete habits where you complete all of the tasks that you need to do throughout the day and even a little bit more. And then you have that small time where you enjoy yourself with those other activities this still puts you above other people that are doing nothing. And this still brings a lot of value to your life. And this is where you simply can choose if you want to live an enjoyable life right now and get 80-90% of what you could achieve right now, or if you want to go fully to the 100%, to go in the hardcore mode and to just not let yourself to waste any of your time. The second option will of course bring you more, but if you don't have a goal or a need to go at 100% every single day, then following the first option will let you achieve most of your goals and even beyond that. After all, the most important thing to understand and to get ingrained into yourself is simply that every day you have another possibility to make new choices. And even if you don't follow those hard plans which would bring you to your final mission, to the accomplishment of your final goal, still, by being aware of what you are doing and where you are heading, and then doing those little extra habits next to some negative tasks, you still can go a long way forward. Coming back to that emotional IQ, to the EQ, I want to mention that the communication, our communication, being able to be the master of our instrument, of our voice, which is the most important thing right now in our society in order to have a strong position, in order to get what you want. You need to work on it constantly. And as humans, we are very, very good absorbers. We are such as sponges. And the same as when you become, as are the people that are surrounding you, the same goes with your speech, with your communication skills. And so be careful what you are consuming and which people are surrounding you, because their vocabulary level and their way of speaking will directly impact you. And so if you want to become your best version, choose very carefully all of the sources that you are listening to and prioritize high-level books, high-level podcasts, and intellectual dialogues with your friends. Personally, another thing that I find very beneficial for working on my communication is to not try to speak very fast, but rather take your time and then think of words that are into your deep lexicon, not as simple words, but rather look for words that are lesser used and maybe that can even be more specific. This way you will be able to express yourself in even a more precise way, get more confident in yourself, and be better understood by others. Throughout this last month, I have plenty more of lessons that I've collected. But these aren't that important as the ones that I've just shared with you. And therefore, I will not waste your time with these. And if you are interested in them, which I would highly recommend to just to just take a look at these, just quickly skim through them, and maybe you'll come across something that does interest you, then just have a look at these. As always, they will be down below in the description, linked to a Notion page. You might have expected a longer video today, but I think that what has been shared throughout this short time, I think it's plenty. I think it's more than enough, and you can already just have some thoughts about all of that. Maybe reorganize what you already know, reorganize how you are going about your life. Choose what are your next steps. Thank you for listening to this weekly review. I know that there aren't many of you that are listening to this entire thing. Thank you for the ones that are. Thank you to you. And I'll see you next week.